basketball is absolutely on fire right now, and this latest controversy involving Dawn Staley, Laeticia Amihere, Kate Martin, and the Golden State Valkyries has fans arguing everywhere. What started as a simple roster discussion quickly turned into a heated debate about respect, loyalty, media narratives, and the way players are treated online. And once Dawn Staley entered the conversation, things exploded instantly. Before we get started, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the biggest stories in women's basketball and the WNBA. And most importantly, comment below, did Dawn Staley have every right to defend Laeticia Amihere? Or do you think people are taking sports criticism way too personally? This is one of those stories where everybody seems to have an opinion. And trust me, by the end of this video, you probably will too. The entire situation started after the Golden State Valkyries made the shocking decision to waive Kate Martin. Immediately, fans reacted emotionally. Some were stunned. Some were furious. Others simply couldn't understand how one of the most popular young players in women's basketball could suddenly lose her roster spot. Kate Martin's rise in popularity has been incredible over the last few years. During her time at Iowa, she became known as one of Caitlin Clark's most trusted teammates. While Clark dominated headlines, Martin quietly built a reputation as a tough, reliable, hard-working player who always seemed ready for the moment. Fans loved her attitude. They loved her energy. And they especially loved the chemistry she shared with Iowa's historic teams. That popularity followed her directly into the WNBA. So when the Valkyries moved on from her, social media instantly exploded with reactions. People wanted answers. And unfortunately, when fans start searching for answers after emotional roster decisions, comparisons between players usually begin immediately. That's exactly what happened here. A Bay Area reporter discussing the Valkyries' decision questioned why Laeticia Amihere remained on the roster while Kate Martin was waived. That comment immediately caught Dawn Staley's attention. And she clearly did not appreciate it. The South Carolina legend responded publicly with a message that quickly spread throughout the basketball world. Not cool to actually use other players' names, specifically Laeticia Amihere, for your personal preface. Simple. Direct. And very emotional. The moment Dawn Staley posted that response, the entire discussion changed. Now this wasn't just about a roster move anymore. Now people were debating sports media, player treatment, online criticism, and whether athletes are unfairly dragged into narratives they didn't create. And honestly, this situation revealed just how emotionally intense women's basketball has become. To understand why Dawn Staley reacted so strongly, you have to understand the culture she has built throughout her coaching career. At South Carolina, Staley has become famous for treating her players like family. Former Gamecocks constantly talk about the relationships they maintain with her long after their college careers end. She celebrates their success publicly. She supports them during struggles. And when she feels one of them is being unfairly criticized, she has no problem stepping directly into the conversation. That loyalty is one of the biggest reasons players trust her so deeply. And Laeticia Amihere is one of the many athletes Staley has fiercely supported over the years. Amihere's basketball journey has always been interesting. Coming out of Canada as a highly regarded recruit, she entered college basketball with massive expectations because of her athleticism, versatility, and physical tools. At South Carolina, she became an important piece of elite teams competing for championships every year. Even though she wasn't always the team's leading scorer, coaches constantly praised her impact. She defended multiple positions. She brought energy. She rebounded. She sacrificed individual opportunities for team success. And Dawn Staley clearly valued all of that. That's why seeing Amihere suddenly become part of a social media debate over another player's roster situation likely frustrated Staley deeply. Because from her perspective, Amihere was simply competing for her own career opportunity. Nothing more. But in today's social media world, nuance disappears quickly. The moment one player gets cut, fans immediately start comparing them to players who remain on the roster. And those comparisons can turn ugly fast. That's exactly what happened after Kate Martin's release. Fans debated whether Martin deserved the spot more. Some criticized the Valkyries. Others criticized roster management. And suddenly Laeticia Amihere became part of the controversy whether she wanted to or not. That's the part Dawn Staley appeared determined to shut down. What makes this story especially fascinating is how divided the reactions became. Many fans completely supported Staley. They argued that female athletes already deal with enormous levels of online negativity and harassment. According to those supporters, unnecessarily attaching Amihere's name to the controversy only invited more criticism toward a player already fighting for a professional future. Others disagreed strongly. Some argued that sports analysis naturally involves comparing players. In their minds, discussing why one player stayed while another got waived is completely normal in professional sports. And honestly, that's what made this debate so complicated. Because both perspectives contain truth. Professional sports are built on evaluation. Fans compare players constantly. Media members analyze roster decisions every single day. But at the same time, social media has changed how criticism spreads and how personal it becomes. One comment can instantly create thousands of reactions. Athletes see everything. Fans pile on emotionally. And narratives spiral within minutes. That's why situations like this become explosive so quickly. The growing popularity of the WNBA only adds even more intensity. Women's basketball is currently experiencing historic momentum. Television ratings continue climbing. Arenas are packed. Social media engagement is exploding. Fans are emotionally invested in players at levels the sport hasn't seen before. And with that growth comes stronger reactions. Kate Martin's popularity itself is proof of that. She became one of the most beloved role players in college basketball because fans connected with her personality, toughness, and underdog energy. Even after entering the professional level, she maintained enormous fan support. So when the Valkyries waived her, fans reacted emotionally almost immediately. Many simply didn't want to accept it. And because sports fans naturally search for explanations, attention shifted toward players who remained on the roster. That's how Laeticia Amihere became pulled into the conversation. But there's another important reality people often forget during these debates: WNBA roster decisions are incredibly difficult. The league has limited spots. Extremely talented players get cut every season. Sometimes decisions come down to positional fit, versatility, contracts, injuries, defense, or long-term development plans rather than popularity. Reports surrounding the Valkyries suggested several basketball-related factors influenced their choices, including roster balance and frontcourt needs. That context matters. But emotional fan reactions often overpower context online. Once outrage begins spreading, rational discussion becomes difficult. And Dawn Staley clearly saw where things were heading. She likely understood Amihere could quickly become the target of unnecessary criticism simply because fans were upset about Kate Martin. That protective instinct is something Staley has demonstrated repeatedly throughout her career. She doesn't separate herself from former players once they leave college. She stays connected. And that loyalty has become one of the defining features of South Carolina's basketball culture. Players know she genuinely cares about them beyond wins and losses. That matters tremendously in recruiting. It matters in player development. And it matters during moments like this. Because athletes notice who defends them publicly when things get difficult. Dawn Staley's influence within women's basketball is also impossible to ignore. Very few coaches command this level of respect and attention across the sport. When she speaks publicly, fans, media members, and players listen carefully. Part of that comes from winning. National championships. Final Four appearances. WNBA stars. Elite recruiting classes. She transformed South Carolina into one of the biggest powers in women's basketball history. But another reason her voice carries so much weight is authenticity. People believe Dawn Staley genuinely means what she says. Whether fans agree with her or not, they know she speaks passionately and honestly. That authenticity creates trust. And it's one reason moments like this become huge national discussions almost instantly. The controversy also revealed how emotionally connected today's fans have become to women's basketball players. Supporters don't just watch games anymore. They follow players on social media. They learn personalities. They become emotionally attached to stories and journeys. That emotional investment has helped grow the sport tremendously. But it also means roster moves can feel personal to fans. For Kate Martin supporters, this cut felt emotional. For Laeticia Amihere supporters, the backlash felt unfair. And for Dawn Staley, the entire conversation crossed a line once her former player became part of the criticism. Lost inside all the arguments is an important truth: both Kate Martin and Laeticia Amihere are simply athletes trying to survive in one of the hardest professional leagues in sports. WNBA roster spots are precious. Careers can change overnight. One injury, one roster adjustment, or one coaching decision can completely alter a player's future. That pressure creates enormous emotional weight for everyone involved. And Dawn Staley understands that reality extremely well. She knows how difficult these transitions can be for young athletes. She knows how damaging online narratives sometimes become. And she knows players often carry criticism privately even when they appear calm publicly. That emotional understanding may be one reason her players remain so loyal to her. Because she consistently treats them like people first. Not just athletes. As the debate continued online, many basketball fans praised Staley for standing up publicly. Others criticized her for reacting too strongly to ordinary sports analysis. But regardless of where people stood, one thing became obvious: women's basketball has reached a level where these conversations now dominate national sports discussions. That's a massive sign of growth for the game. A few years ago, a WNBA roster move probably wouldn't create this level of emotional reaction across social media. Now it becomes headline news. And that visibility changes everything. It creates opportunities. It builds fan bases. But it also increases pressure and scrutiny dramatically. As for Laeticia Amihere, she mostly stayed quiet publicly throughout the controversy. That may actually have been the smartest approach possible. Sometimes responding emotionally online only extends the story further. Instead, Amihere now has the opportunity to let her game speak for itself. The Valkyries clearly see value in her abilities. Her versatility, athleticism, and defensive tools give her real potential within the league. And now she has another chance to prove why she belongs. Meanwhile, Kate Martin remains one of the most talked about names in women's basketball. Given her popularity and reputation, many fans expect another opportunity will come sooner rather than later. Her story is far from finished. But the larger takeaway from this controversy may ultimately center on Dawn Staley herself. Because once again, she showed exactly why players trust her so deeply. She showed loyalty, protection, passion, and a willingness to speak publicly when she believes one of her athletes is being unfairly targeted. That kind of support matters. And in today's sports world, it might matter more than ever. Before you leave, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for all the latest WNBA and women's basketball news. And now we want to hear from you. Did Dawn Staley do the right thing by defending Laeticia Amihere publicly? Or do you think the backlash is just part of professional sports? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this debate is definitely not ending anytime soon.